What is going on? Your boy Cheeto is back with another video. Like I said, I know I remind y'all of the video, but I'm eventually stop doing it. But right now, my energy is high. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm being consistent. I told you guys I'm gonna drop a video, at least 2 videos every week, so that way I can be consistent and get you guys some good content. But today's video is very spicy today, and I have a topic that I kind of feel strongly and qualified enough to even talk about. And today's topic is, I think, the 4 things that completely divide society as a whole is religion, politics, race, and social class. Now, what gave me the idea to talk about this video? Honestly, as a person, I realized when scrolling through social media, and it doesn't matter where you're at, it can be Instagram, it can be YouTube, it can be Twitter, it can be, or X, it can be Reddit, it doesn't matter, anywhere on the internet, there's gonna be some level of division when it comes to religion, politics, race, or social class. And I think that harms society the most. And I'm gonna get into why and how each problem divides society. Now, first, you probably think, what is the psychology that goes into the fact of having these different type of groups? Well, one thing that we can all agree as humans is all humans love to be a part of a group. That goes to the beginning of times where humans want to be a part of a group, therefore they can feel accepted amongst society. And when you break down the 4 things that I've listed, religion, that is a group. Politics, there are groups. Race, there are groups. And social classes, there are groups. That means everybody wants to fit into society. So as you break down as a human, you can even ask yourself, well, what religion do I fit into? What politics do I fit into? What race do I fit into? And what social class do I fit into? And by default, as a person, you have to fit in a group. You cannot be a part of none of those groups that I listed. Because depending on your race, you're a part of that group. Depending on your political background, you're a part of that group. Depending on your religion, you're a part of that group. And depending on your social class, you're a part of that group. Now, politics and religion are 2 things that you can decide if you want to be a part of. I'm not political nor religious, but some people are political and religious, and then obviously you can't change your race, and you can change your social class, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be a part of a social class, meaning there is no option to not participate in social classes. So that's pretty much the main psychology that I feel is the most important in explaining why these big groups are separating society. It's just the end point of the fact that humans love being a part of a group, and they have to be a part of something to feel something. First idea that I want to get into is religion. Now, I know this can be very sensitive to certain people because essentially I don't want to disrespect anyone's religion, but at the same time I do want to call out religions for making you pick against society. I know certain people that are a part of religions, and essentially it causes them to dislike or disdain other religions, which I think causes separation through society. Now, people naturally form tribes around beliefs, right? That means if there's a main core belief amongst a group of people, like-minded people are going to group together, right? Also, it shows, though, with these groupings and tribes formed around these beliefs, history has shown a whole bunch of religious conflicts. It's been so many religious conflicts. Also, and then this is due to the different moral values that can create so much tension. Due to people having different beliefs, different values, it creates tension, which leads to those conflicts. I think social media also does a terrible job of amplifying disagreements instead of understanding it. I don't know if you guys noticed the big war between Christianity and Muslim people, and you see these people going back and forth, disrespecting each other's religion, not really coming to an understanding, not really coming to an agreement. And my question to that is religion supposed to unite people spiritually but divide them socially? That is the question to be asked when it comes to people talking about their religions and why some feel that their religion is more superior. The next form of division that I would like to talk about is politics. Politics have become so mainstream that politics are essentially a part of everyone's identity. There's some form of politics that are part of someone's identity. I think families and friends tend to disagree and fall out over politics. That is how strongly politics have become polarized, I think, in today's generation. I think politics have essentially have touched everyone's mind, and you have to pick a side. Or if you don't pick a side, you're just a bystander and you're watching things crash and burn. Like, people make you feel like you have to decide. And I think having these different level of news outlets catering to these different political views doesn't do anything to really help. You know, I think news outlets based on the area, based on the county, may televise things that are towards a political party that a person may not agree with. It's almost a form of brainwashing, if you ask me. I think social media algorithms as well reward the outrage and the differences between the two political parties. And not just the two political parties that we know of the major federal elections, but just political parties to begin with, because there's just more than the main two of Republican and Democrat that people know of. I think the social media does a great job of feeding into it. It promotes it to people. If you watch one political figure of either side, I've even experienced this myself, your algorithm will get flooded with people of that political party, which is almost a form of indoctrination. I think people also support parties over the principles themselves. Like, if you go ask someone that voted for Donald Trump, you ask them, what is the reasoning that you voted for Donald Trump? I've done that, actually. I've done it on both sides because I'm not political. I'm fair about how I question people. And me doing that myself, I've asked people, what is the reasoning for supporting them? Only one person could tell me, and it was the reason he voted for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump said that he was going to take all taxes off overtime, right? So overtime work wasn't going to get taxed. And you can go look that up and find that information yourself. But he said overtime work wasn't going to get taxed. And to me, that's a smart voter, regardless of whoever you agree with, right? People vote for these people without truly knowing what their point is in terms of what they're running for. You don't really know what they're going to implement. So you're essentially voting on a what if. That is why politics separate people, because people don't even know what they're supporting. They're just having a reason to divide because they say one party is this and the other party is that. That gives me the reason of division. That is why politics is so lethal. And then you add in the fact of the pushed media of each political party. If you watch this guy, you get a lot of these content creators. If you watch that guy, you get a lot of these content creators. That causes division because it's a steady spoon feed of a certain political party. Next topic that I feel like divides society is race. Now, this is another sensitive topic because a lot of people are very sensitive about their race, right? A lot of people feel very strongly about racism, and they feel very strongly about hatred, and they feel strongly about different type of races. And I'm going to give you the reasons why race divides society. I think a lot of people often judge based on stereotypes. Stereotypes have done irrefutable damage to groups of people. And when these people do anything that reminds people of stereotypes, a lot of the times people feel like that gives them justification of hating a certain group of people. I think historical events, things like slavery, things like wars, things like disparity against certain groups of people have affected modern day relationships today. And it still has effect today. And the lack of trying to mend these problems, it still shows and it still is lingering around. I think identity politics can sometimes bring a level of awareness, but it also creates a level of division to it. I think communities tend to have a disconnect, which causes them to become isolated from one another. Instead of being a one whole community, you have sub communities where groups of people of groups of races tend to live together. We can go out in society and see that today. I think people's assumptions of group of people tend to prevent having a genuine conversation. When you have a pre-thought assumption of a person prior before speaking to them, you may not give that person a fair nod or a fair chance because you're going off what you believe prior, which is essentially ruining society as a whole because it doesn't allow people to love one another fairly. It just, oh, I think this, I'm never going to give anybody a chance from this group of people. This causes me to feel some type of way about them when I see them, and anytime that I should interact with them, I don't interact with them and I don't give them a fair chance. Lastly, I would say the last thing that has a huge impact on societal division is social class. Now, social class is one of those things that no one truly gets to pick, but in the end, it tends to separate us. You know, when people have a large amount of money and people barely have any money, it creates different life experiences for people. So that means they get to experience different things, they get to try out different things, and it creates a level of division in that process. One of the main key things that I feel like is a major component why a lot of these divisions are successful is because education and opportunities are unequal due to social classes, right? The more affluent the area, the more educational resources that they have have to, and the less affluent the area or the more poor the area, the less educational opportunities that they have, which will eventually create a division because one group of people can essentially be smarter than the others due to the education separation. If I don't have as many resources as you do, you tend to be more educated than I do. That's just that simple. It's the simple framework of that. And also, due to the separation of classes, it causes people to not understand the livelihoods of one another. You know, if I am someone that grew up without food and you grew up fed very well, you complaining about food may be insane to me. And that creates a level of division. You can see it time and time again when people say, oh, this kid is using daddy's money, or this girl is using daddy's money. When has being from a suburb or using your parents, which they allowed themselves to be used because they decided to have you, is a problem? And also, economic stress leads to a level of resentment. You know, in the example that I used prior, it shows the level of resentment that you didn't work for anything, everything was gave to you, and that causes me to resent you because maybe I wish I had that, maybe it doesn't make you respectable because you didn't earn it, stuff like that. And I also think money can create an invisible wall in between people. You see how people may react when money is involved. People tend to be slimy, they tend to be grimy, and it's not everybody, but a lot of people, when it involves money, they tend to prioritize the money. And you can see how it corrupts people. It makes people change. It makes people become a different person. And that is why I think money and social class is one of the main indicators. I think it's the start of everything else. First, it starts off with social class. Then it starts off with religion. Then it starts off with politics. And then it ends with race. And I think those are if I had to say start to finish on how important they start off, is how it separates society the most. We have finally made it to the end of the video. Now, these are just my thoughts. I want to put a disclaimer. These are my thoughts. It's just purely opinion why I think society is separated. Some people may feel that society is together as one whole. I personally don't think it's one whole. I think that these things will always create conflict and disagreement and essentially keep society separated in terms of a group of people. With that being said, though, I think everybody has the right to believe in whatever they want to believe in when it comes to religion, when it comes to politics, what they think about different races, what they think about social classes. It is America at the end of the day. I am American at the end of the day. Freedom of speech is something that is promoted, and I think people should be able to express themselves. That doesn't mean freedom of consequences, but you should be able to express yourself however you want to express yourself without at the cost of harming others. But I love topics like this. I want to tell you guys thank you again for giving me a chance and watching my videos. I always forget to say it, but I'm gonna put it in one more time because it's on top of my mind. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I always put it at the end of the video because I feel like throwing it out at y'all first doesn't really give y'all the opportunity to click like, comment, and subscribe on your own. So I always do it. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. This was one of the videos that I was really excited to make. It was originally gonna be 45 minutes, but I'm like, nobody wants to sit up and watch that for 45 minutes. So I tried to bring it down. I don't know how much it's gonna be at the end, but yeah, I try not to make it too long. Like I said, thank y'all guys for tuning in. I'm glad to be consistent. I want you guys to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Please tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I need to do more long form content. So I love all the constructive criticism. You can always explain yourself and criticize somebody while being nice. Like I said, smile, guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will be back this week. And I got another spicy content because I already got my ideas written down. Just know the next video is going to be another banger. Let's get it.